Welcome back to the verdict. Still taking a look at what's going on with the elections. While I know a lot of people are waiting to see where and when the results will begin to trickle in. Let's head to Abeokuta. We've got correspondent Dare Idowu there. Who knows if he's going to tell us, okay, well, we can see the seats there. It's not going to happen yet. But Dare, what is happening at the moment?
Yeah, good morning. Here in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, we are at the collection center here. Of course, things have changed since we last updated you. At the moment, I can tell you authoritatively that we have at least 7 local governments of the 20 local governments in Ogun State. The process may start any moment from now. You start hearing the very long list from officials who will be reeling out the figures. Well, like the REC promised that it's going to be a long night. It's been a long night. It's been hours of waiting for the process to kickstart. But I can tell you that the process will be starting any moment from now, because what it means is if they have 7 of 20 local governments, the process can start, and along the line, the other local governments will start coming in. That's the bit I can tell you right now.
Okay, so we have heard several reports in different states concerning what transpired with collation of results, the role that security agencies or agents played on the particular day. Do we have any reports about that in Abeokuta?
Yeah, of course, in Ogun State as well, maybe there might have been some concerns. We've been here throughout the night, and at some point we noticed movement out. And I've been posting the same question to the resident electoral commissioner, Professor Abdulgani Raji, who actually was quite confident of the entire process. He said nothing is going to go wrong at the collation center. He said he's quite confident of the entire process. He said they have checks on what is going on at the local government level. And well, maybe let's say at this moment, events might have overtaken that, because at this point we have some of those results in.
Okay, but in terms of how the electorates conducted themselves concerning voter apathy, what did you see? What's your impression? Did they turn up as much, or it was lower than perhaps the last time out?
Yes, I basically addressed the same question earlier, that the issue of voter apathy turnout can be quite tricky, especially when you're talking about it from the polling unit perspective, because you can say there was a large turnout because of the people you see on the queue, but at the end of the day, the number of voters, registered voters, and the number of votes cast will basically determine that. By the time you put it side by side, if you you'll be talking about a particular percentage. If, for instance, during the presidential election, if it was 35%, or if in this case it would be 40%. But of course, you and I would know that 40% may not be good enough. 1.6 million PVCs collected in this state. In the last election, only 600,000 people voted. So you can be looking at almost the same figure this time around. But what we don't want to preempt anything. At this point, you can tell that you can have the exact 1.6 million people casting the vote for the governorship and the House of Assembly candidates.
So, Larry, once again, when are they going to start this announcement of those results? I mean, this is almost night. Did they go to church or what? What's happening?
That's quite funny, though. But the thing is, because it's been a long night and they've been waiting for the lump sum, I want to believe that by the time you have, say, 10 local governments of 20 local governments in the entire process, but they promised that the process is going to start really, really soon. The waiting that we've had before now, of course, at this point, we can't wait as long as we have waited. So the process is going to start really soon. It's not like anyone has gone to church. If you can see the room right here, the party officials, journalists, observers are already seated, waiting for the REC and some other people who will be conducting this particular exercise and overseeing things around there. The collation officers from the political part, from the local government rather, are also seated in this auditorium at the moment.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Dare Ido, our correspondent, coming to us live from Abeokuta. Of course, we will always come back to you when that collation and announcement of those 7 of the 20 which you talk about begins. Again, thank you and well done for your reporting. So 7 of 20 local government areas, we understand they're ready and they should be, they'll start that announcement soon. But I just wonder if they'll be able to go through all of them. It's still early days here, just almost 9 o'clock. Yeah. So hopefully they'll be able to get through the 20. All of them. Yeah. Because it's not presidential election, so they should sort this out. But what do you guys think about his views on the voter turnout? Impressive or not?
Well, clearly, I mean, if we take an average, it's lower than, discouragingly lower, if you would say, kind of, discouragingly lower than that of the presidential election. So we were hoping, we were here hoping that the presidential election would be considered a little distant from us, so the governorship elections will be closer to us, so we expected that people would turn out a lot more.
State houses of assembly.
And state houses of assembly.
Samson Itodo did mention that for the presidential elections we had about, is it 36% or thereabouts?
35.6, which is 36%.
Yeah. And he says that there's no way with the conduct of these elections for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections, there's no way we're going to surpass that level. So voter apathy has become a major concern. Do you think that in comparative analysis from what happened in 25 during the 2015 and 2025? 2015. Why am I fast forwarding everything?
I like that. I like future.
He's been seeing a lot of sci-fi movies.
In 2015, when Goodluck Jonathan was the president, and compared to now, voter apathy seems to have increased.
Right.
Can we attribute that to the deployment of the security?
No.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, okay. It's attributable to a number of factors, several factors. But the presence of security could be a factor, but I would dare say that would be a minor factor. The fact that we conduct presidential before the yes is a major factor. The electorate now know where their bread will be buttered. So, I mean, if you look at social media in the last 4-5 days and see the number of people who have decamped from PDP to APC, you marvel that why would somebody, now that either the election is 2 days away or the election has even been conducted, why would somebody want to? Because they feel that if they align with the president's party, there will be something that will accrue to them. Okay? Then the interest of the electorate in the thing is waning, or has waned considerably. That we know where the trend is. Why do I need to bother myself? Okay. Again, there are people who will say, having known the party that has won the presidential election, that going to vote again is a waste of time. That somebody else who is contesting on the platform of the president's party, there's always that assumption that other people would go and vote for him.
But the risk in that is that...
It's risky, but that thinking is there.
Okay, so let me take you up on that then. Okay. What are the risks? Because I was thinking that, look, just a few people given the job of a million, of almost 100 million.
Yes.
Being a job of almost 100 million people being determined by...
A very small fraction.
In
fact, here is something that is extremely fearful.
One of the things I advise young people is that you must participate in partisan politics. Doesn't matter which side, but go in and participate. The
as a member or
as a member
electorate?
of the political party, so that you become a factor in the decision making of the candidate that would emerge. Now, here is something that is scarier than even the low voter turnout.
Oh dear.
The two presidential candidates, how many people determine how they emerge as candidates of their parties? Maybe 3,000, maybe 4,000 people. And those two people were given to us to decide.
And how many of them were young
84
people?
million registered voters.
Yeah.
We ended up deciding at a rate of about 35.6%. Now, that's the scary bit. Now, how do you resolve these things? I know there are some countries where they have made it mandatory. No. The factors enunciated by the prof are, you know, they contributed to the low voter turnout. The other thing is to say, well, whether I vote this or that way, it's going to remain the same. It will not affect my life.
Is it fundamental when you look at the military presence before this election?
If there is too much security, I would say, why bother? I mean, if it will affect my life, if I'm going to lose my life in the process of going out to vote, I mean, like the example of that mother and child, or parent and the child in Benue, then it's not worth it, right? This is the thinking now of the average person, and as a result, they might just sit and watch channels, and then pontificate and decide on who should be the person that would emerge. But seriously, we need to be educated and made aware that we have a say in who our president or our governor or our local council or our state rep would be, and that need to be inculcated into our psyche so that we go out there and vote. Now, one of the things that could happen, or I would suggest very strongly, is that if you voted 2 weeks ago, you were given 3 ballot papers. If you voted yesterday, you were given 2 ballot papers.
Or
now,
3 in the case of supplementary.
Or 3 in the case of supplementary. Now, what would stop INEC from giving me 5 ballot papers 2 weeks ago? Since I can handle 3, I can handle 5. What's the issue? We should have the elections conducted in one day.
Yeah, that will save us cost.
It will be cost saving, and the voter turnout for presidency, you know, drags everybody out there.
So everybody might as well be out. For the governorship and the presidential elections would make perfect sense.
Another template, another template that was used previously was to have executive elections and then parliamentary elections.
Or one or the other, right.
And which one of them is
the more important?
I think having everything the same time is the best.
But I think one of the challenges, I think INEC was talking about logistics.
The logistics, let's professionalize that.
Yes.
See, logistics is not a problem. There is science to logistics. And if you tackle the science, and that is why I was questioning the professionalism of that institution. So we need to have the right people there. The political appointees can still be appointed politically.
That's what I'm going. How do we get them in? Because yes, they will always appoint those national commissioners.
Right.
But how do we do it such that, and do we need to elevate those professionals above those political appointees?
No, the rank and file should still remain rank and file, and they must be seen to be. They must be selected through a, competence-based, knowledge-based screening process, whereby you are there because you are a professional, and because of that, that professional ethics would basically take over in execution of your function. The political appointees will listen to the advice given to them by these operatives. And that is how you actually improve on the logistics elements of things. Because when you have 4 years to prepare or 2 years to prepare, and then a week, 2 days, in fact, in some cases, 3 hours before elections.
Can we be practical about this? Okay, let's say we have this 5 cops.
Correct.
And you said that you can handle 5, so why handle 2? Or is it why handle 3?
Yeah.
So for logistic reasons, if we were to have it on one day, each voter gets 5 ballots.
Correct.
And it's just as easy as dropping it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and make your choice.
Exactly.
So what's the complexity here that INEC is shying away from?
That's what I question, because the complexity is easy. So the two that are state will be going at the ward levels and then local government levels, et cetera, because they are color-coded. So even a kindergarten kid can actually take these two to the right place, and then those 3 to the right location.
Wouldn't that be an assumption given the level of political education?
It's been done in other places,
but the
in
thing
other
is,
climes.
exactly.
It's done in other climes.
Okay.